All right, section 2.1 talks about the addition property of equality. In chapter 2, we're actually going to be solving equations, okay? So the one thing that I want to mention before we solve an equation, or in solving equations, the one thing we should see in our problems, in every single one of them, is an equal sign, okay? The first part we have here says the addition principle. It says if the same number is added to both sides of an equation, the results on both sides are equal in value. So what it's telling me here is that if we have A equal to B, then A plus C is equal to B plus C. All right, so we have a few problems here in 2.1. We're going to be solving. Again, notice every one of those problems does have an equal sign. When we're trying to solve, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the letter all by itself. Okay, that's going to be our objective. I'm looking at the first problem we have here. It says x plus 15 equals 21. Since we're trying to get the letter by itself, I'm going to ask myself, what am I doing with the letter x and the number 15 right now? Well, you can see they're being added. I'm going to do the opposite. The opposite of adding is to subtract. We're going to subtract 15 on both sides. I want you to look at this part right here. I have $15. I owe you $15. We are now even. The x is now by itself. Now let's take a look at the other side. I have $21. I owe you 15. After we pay, we are left with 6. Okay? Let's try the same thing for the next problem here. Remember, we're trying to get the letter by itself. Right now, with the 8 and the x, they're being added. So the opposite of adding 8 is to subtract 8. Okay? So if I look on this side right here, I have $8, I owe you $8, we are even. There's my letter x, it is by itself. 23 minus 8 leaves us a total of 15. Okay? All right. The next one I have here says x minus 13 equals 4. We're subtracting 13, so we're going to do the opposite, which is to add 13 on both sides. If I owe you $13 and I have $13, we're even. The x is by itself. 4 plus 13 leaves us with a total of 17. The next problem here is 0 equals x plus 9. Since I'm adding 9, we're going to subtract 9. Okay? These 9s will cancel out. The x is by itself. Let's look at this part. I have no money and I owe you $9. Well, I still owe you $9, right? Okay. Next problem we have here. X minus 11 equals negative 13. The opposite of minus is to plus. So we're going to add on both sides. Those 11s will cancel. Our x is by itself. If I look at this side, I owe you $13. I only have 11. I would still owe you 2. Okay. Let's see. The next problem here. Negative 16 plus x equals 47. Since that's a negative 16, I want to put the opposite. I'm going to put a positive 16. Okay. So that those will cancel. Our x is by itself. 47 plus 16 should give us a total of 63. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at this next one here. First thing I'm going to do, 8 minus 2. Well, we know that's 6. Okay. Equals x plus 5. Let's go ahead and subtract 5 on both sides. Those will cancel. Our x is by itself. 6 minus 5 leaves us with a total of 1. Similarly, in the next problem, 32 minus 11 should give us 21 equals x with a minus 4. Okay. Since we're subtracting 4, we're going to do the opposite, which is to add 4. The x's go away. The negative 4 and the positive 4 go away. The x is by itself. 21 and 4 leaves us with a total of 25. Okay. Let's take a look at the next one here. 8.2 plus x equals 3.2. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to subtract 8.2 on both sides. Subtract 8.2. So if I have $8.20 and I owe you $8.20, we are even. My x is by itself. Let me go ahead and grab my calculator here. It's cleared out. So I'm going to go 3.2 minus 8.2, negative 5. Okay. All right. Same thing here. So let's go ahead and fix what we can on this side of the equal sign. I'm going to leave my x alone, but I want to combine those two numbers, okay? So I'm going to grab my calculator one more time, clear that out. 4.3 minus 2.6 equals 1.7. So we have x, and then a plus 1.7 equals 3.4. Let's go ahead and subtract 1.7 on both sides. Okay. So now if I grab my calculator again, and we say, what's 3.4? Oops. 3.4 minus 1.7 equals, and we still get 1.7, okay? Very good. And the next problem I have here, x minus 1.4, x minus 1/4, equals 3/4. Since we're subtracting right now, remember what we're going to do. We're going to add. We're going to do the opposite. We're going to add. So this minus 1/4 and that positive 1/4 will cancel. Over here, we're adding those two fractions together. So 3/4 plus 1/4 will give us 4/4. And finally, 4 divided by 4 just leaves us with 1. And that's section 2.1.